I'm Caroline Wolf. I'm going to give you a summary of LCT funding. Jenny's going to talk about contracts and legally binding agreements. This is the season for procurement, so everybody should pay attention if you need to file 470. Kyle is going to talk about our new step-by-step Form 470 video. It's going to take the place of our Come File With Us webinar. He did a great job, and I can't wait for y'all to see it. The administrative window and profile updates, Jennifer's going to talk about, and then Ginny is going to talk about next steps. So $3.3 million has been dispersed to LCT libraries since it began. If you haven't filed the Form 486 yet, it is due. I know that in some cases, you may have been funded after July 1st, in which case you have a little bit more time, but services began July 1st for your internet. So unless you have a special circumstance, you should have filed your Form 486. We've noticed that there are 6 libraries who still need to certify their 486s, and so you should do that if you haven't done so already. Ignore the 2020 stat there. Of course, it doesn't matter. I think we're ready to move on. I just wanted y'all to know that the cost of internet has gone down for LCT libraries while the bandwidth has gone up. The bandwidth for 2022 averaged around 700 megabits per second. And that is a big change from the previous year. Let me see. We had in 2018, the average bandwidth for LCT libraries was 57 megabits. In 2019, it was 337. In 2020, it was 409. 2021, it was 667, and 2022 was 742 megabits per second. So that's just showing that y'all are getting better and better internet, more efficient. It's the cost is going down while the bandwidth is going up. So congratulations for all the hard work. I know sometimes it's very easy to just continue with what you have, but you're gonna, I think the pandemic has shown everybody that you need the best bandwidth that you can get for the cost that you can afford. So now we're going to go on to contracts and legally binding agreements with Ginnie.
Good afternoon. Let's talk about contracts and legally binding agreements. So once if you did file a 470 this year, or when you do, if you need one, this is how you'll handle the contracts once your 28 days has passed and you've completed your bid evaluations and made decisions. So once that's happened and you've selected the most cost-effective service provider, then if there is a contract involved, that's the time when you can sign the contract. It's important to go ahead and request the contract from the selected service provider as soon as you know you need one, because sometimes that takes a little while. They have to go through their legal team and get contracts drawn up and processed. So that can take a little bit. Here's some questions to ponder on next steps when you get to the contract phase, is understanding who approves the contract. Does it need to go before City Council or the library board? And then who signs the contract? It's important for you to know who that is and think about that now. If it does have to go before your board or City Council, then you'll want to find out when they meet, probably the latest in January. So if you've got your contract ready to sign this month or next, it's almost November, so then I would go ahead and see if you can get on the December agenda. But at the latest, the January agenda would be good. That way you have plenty of time to file your 471 after that's done. If you're not able to file your not able to get the approval for that contract before the time to file the 471s, there are some exemptions for that, or exceptions for that. And so one being a legally binding agreement. So in the E-rate modernization order of 2014, the FCC did ease the requirements for signed contracts. So if you aren't able to make it to the board and get the contract signed before you're ready to file the 471, then there's a couple of different ways you can go about doing that, providing USAC with proof of a legally binding agreement. That could be taking a bid that you receive from the winning provider, making sure that bid has all the material terms and conditions of the service, and simply replying to an email from that provider, letting them know that your bid's been selected and pending board approval, we will sign this, next month, or we anticipate to sign it in the next couple of months. That would satisfy evidence of a legally binding agreement or a contract award letter. So that could be drawn up, and the bid that includes the material terms and conditions that can go with it. And you can say, we're selecting this bid that's attached, and here's the date, and it's contingent upon board approval and E-rate funding. So, or something along those lines. And we have some templates for that. So we can send you a contract award letter template if you wish to do that. But just know that the best evidence of a legally binding agreement is a contract. So that's why you want to plan today for what you're going to need in January. And now I'm going to hand it over to Kiel.
Just one more thing. It's really important to have something to show your decision-making process and something that shows that you've committed before you file your Form 471. That people are denied if they don't have that documentation in place, and then you have to do an appeal. So it's really important for you to have that. And if you have any questions about that, please do reach out to us on the hotline.
Good point. All right, take it away, Kyle.
Great point, Caroline, and thank you, Ginny. So the legally binding contract, of course, is going to be something that follows the Form 470. We have, in lieu of the yearly Come File With Us video, the webinar presentation that we do with the LCT libraries, we have created a series of videos that go over 3 different steps that will help you prepare to file the funding year 2023 Form 470. The first part goes over the funding year 2023 preparation checklist. Some of you attending may have already received this PDF. If you have not, then a copy of it is available in the webinar chat for download there. We can also target outreach to you with these attachments later. Part 2 is going to be going over filling out the service specifications attachment for the Form 470. The service specifications document discusses details about the library, the current level of service at the library, and the service level that you're seeking at the library, in addition to including a timeline that allows for a question and answer period, a date to post answers to those questions so that they're shared to all prospective vendors in a fair and open way, in addition to a deadline for bids. Finally, part 3, we have a video that covers the actual preparation filing of the funding year 2023 Form 470. in addition to some steps on how to sign in to the EPC portal, especially if it's been a little bit, you may need to reset your password. We take each of these things step by step through these videos. And additionally, in the service specifications template that we use, some of you may have already received that as well. If you have not, in the webinar chat, that has been uploaded there for you to download if you would like to. If you're uncertain if you're going to need to file a Form 470 this year, please reach out to us. We can discuss that with you. Typically, if your internet contract is going to be ending prior to June 30th of 2024, you should file a funding year 2023 Form 470. Or if you're increasing bandwidth or adding another circuit, either, for example, if you have a staff circuit and you're adding a patron circuit, or vice versa, you may need to file a Form 470. So please reach out to us if you think any of these things apply to you. I believe next we have Jennifer with administrative window and profile update information.
Thanks, Kyle. So I'll be talking about the administration window that USAC opened up Tuesday, October 25th. And the window closes shortly before they open the 471 window. So around January, mid-January is when they open up the 471 window. And what this entails, it allows you to update any information on your library, whether you're adding new branches, you need to update your square footage for expanded locations, change the libraries, if the name changed, the address changed, anything like that. This is when you can actually update your information. If you are adding a new branch or a new library in general, you do need to contact USAC, and they can only create a new entity, and you can do that inside your Epic profile under create a customer service. All right, next up is Jenny.
Thanks, Jen. Okay, a few more things. So for filing your Form 470, and at this point, we should have reached out to you by now to alerting you if you need one. And like Kyle said, this is a contract that would expire before 6/30 of 2024. So of course, the proper sequence is to watch that Form 470 video that Kyle has created and put the links on a couple of pages back. Complete the Form 470 preparation checklist. This will ensure that you take all the proper actions before you prepare the 470 and certify it. We're happy to take a look at it before you do that as well. And then the service specifications sheet. This is what you'll attach to your Form 470 before you certify it. And this will just give a little bit more information about what you're requesting bids on from the service providers. Before you can prepare your service specifications sheet, it's important to determine your internet bandwidth. So where you are today, and maybe talking with your technology department and finding out, is this sufficient bandwidth that I have today, or do we need more? And what does that range look like? So on the Form 470, you're going to put a minimum and a maximum bandwidth range. So you want to kind of determine what that need would be, especially if you're going to sign a 3-year contract, for example. Then you'll want to know that you can upgrade your internet bandwidth throughout that term, that 3-year term, if necessary. Both of those, the 470 preparation checklist and the service specifications Kyle has uploaded in the chat. So all you have to do is click on the PDF to download and save those on your desktop. And those can be the 2 documents you'll need for the 470. If you, I'm sorry, go ahead.
You may not have an IT person. It may just be you or the city. And if you are really not sure about what bandwidth you have, there are a couple of ways that you can determine that. One is if you've been participating, you probably have either a contract or a letter that you sent to your service provider saying what you intended to have. But you should check your bill to make sure that you're getting that, because it's possible that what you said that you were going to have didn't get upgraded. So do check that on your bill. And if it's not on your bill, you can always reach out to your service provider and ask questions about what your bandwidth is. Sorry, Jenny, I didn't mean to interrupt.
That's a great point, though. Yeah, if you're not sure, because so many people don't know. And kind of piggybacking off of that, Caroline, so if you, for this year, for 2022, if you increased your bandwidth on your 471, be sure you look at your bills now just to double check that the upgrade actually happened. And you can just make sure by getting a bill from, if you're not the one that receives the bills, get with your the county office and get a copy of your bill just to make sure. And then, of course, if you switched providers from last year to this year, be sure that you turned off your old service from your old provider. Make sure you're not paying both of those bills simultaneously. And then if you filed E-rate for funding year 2021 that ended June 30th of 2022, and you need to file a BEAR, so you paid your bill in full to your service provider the entire year, then that application, the Form 472 or the billed entity applicant reimbursement, is due by tomorrow. So October 28th is the last date to file that important application if you need a reimbursement for 2021. Reach out to us if you're not sure. We can take a look, and you can file an extension, a one-time 120-day extension if you need to extend that deadline. But you'll need to do it before the day is over tomorrow. So let us know if you're uncertain of any of that. So our goal for filing all 470s needed for this year is to have them certified by Thanksgiving, which is November 24th. And that's our goal every year, so that we can have plenty of time to, when we get back from winter break, to look at all the bids, make sure everything looks good, get it to the board if it needs to go, and then file your 471. The window typically runs mid-January to mid to late March. So you're gonna need to file the 471, the form after the 470, in that time frame. Does anybody have anything else to add on that?
I have something to add about our next call. Yeah, next November, we usually have our webinar on the fourth Thursday of the month. And I think this is the date on this slide is old.
Yes,
but
I will take a look real quick.
But we will be sending out information on when our next call will be. It will probably be in the middle of December. We usually combine our November and December webinar together because usually the fourth Thursday of November is Thanksgiving, and I don't think anybody wants to be thinking about E-rate on Thanksgiving. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving to all of you, and a happy Halloween. And again, if you need to file a Form 470, please reach out if you need assistance. Do watch those videos. Kyle did a great job on them. And have a great rest of the day.
And Marisol is asking for the links. So we're copying and pasting those into the chat right now as well. So Marisol, if you want to just copy paste that, that would be great. And then you can
can
access to them
probably even
anytime.
click on them in the chat right now too, and then you'll open them,
Take you right
opening
there.
them up.
Those are our direct links to those videos, but I also included our general YouTube channel on which this recording of this webinar and past webinars are uploaded. So if you would like to review any of those, please feel free to visit our YouTube archive.
And we'll be sending targeted emails with this information for anybody who has to file a Form 470. It's possible that you don't need to file a Form 470 based on your contract, but if you do need to increase your bandwidth and your bandwidth level wasn't on the last 470, you may need to file another one. So if you do want to increase your bandwidth and you don't have and you don't need to file a 470 now, please reach out to us and just let us check it for you. So we can.
And we do have a question in the chat about, please explain the process if my contract has 2 extensions in it. Do I still do a 470 if I want to extend the contract? It's a great question. No, you do not have to file a new 470. You'll just need to execute that contract extension before you file your 471. So I recommend doing that soon.
Sometimes it's your contract, if you use the service provider's contract, do look at it, because I know some service providers put a specific number of days that you need to notify them that you intend to continue or to exercise the extension. So it's possible that there will be some language like that in your contract, but it's really important to get it done before you file the 471. Anything else? Oh, okay. Well, we've got that. Okay. If we don't have any more questions, we'll let you have the rest of your day. Thank you all.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.